I'm Jay Jackson. Welcome to WineNewsNoir.com. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing on YouTube. We begin this Black History Month episode with a historic vineyard and winery in South Carolina. Bowman Vineyards and Winery has become part of the fabric of South Carolina's Low Country, and one executive says it's a model for Black winemakers across America. Thousands of miles from the wine-rich valleys of California in the Low Country Gullah Geechee home of South Carolina, one winemaker says the future of American wine is taking shape.
My grandfather started the farm in 1942, so we are approaching 100 years.
Matthew Bowman Jr. is the managing partner of Bowman Vineyards and Winery, the go-to local brand for South Carolina politicians, stadiums, arenas, and other large events that got its start in 2007 with his father's simple proclamation.
So in 2007, after my grandfather passed, we were very concerned about losing property. And for many Black families, they lose the land. And so we had a tobacco farm. We had 12 acres on one site, 40 acres on another. So total probably about 60 acres that we wanted to keep in the family. And so I'm in the Navy, leaving Whidbey Island, Washington, and I go to Rondo, South Carolina. And I see my dad standing there with a shovel and one Concord grape. And I look at him and I said, "Daddy, what are you going to do with that?" And he goes, "I'm going to plant a vineyard." And I said, "With one vine?" And he goes, "Yes." And so he took that shovel. They planted, to make a long story short, they ended up planting 12 acres of vineyard by hand. He tried multiple varieties of grapes to see what would grow and wouldn't grow. And muscadine is the one that grows best in South Carolina. And so we ended up with Noble grapes, which are a dark winemaking muscadine grape, and Carlos grapes, which are a lighter bronze colored for white wine muscadine grape. And then he added a whole bunch of others, Supremes, Triumphs, and started experimenting with other grape varietals to see how they make wine. And so that's what makes our wines unique.
But the Bowman's connection to the land goes back to the 1600s in the Gullah Geechee community and working the land since the 1800s. Now, with 60 plus acres, it's still a family business.
We are the oldest Black-owned winery on the East Coast. And as a family, it's something that we all are involved in. My children are involved in it. I have a 20-year-old who's in South Carolina now with her grandparents, and she's selling wine at stocking bottles, supporting the business as my dad and my sister actually do the wine selling. So that's what we do as a family.
Bowman says it's more than grapes and fruits they're growing here. It's also a legacy, and that legacy, he believes, will shape the future of wine in America.
I think that the future is going to continue to reward those who specialize and who are hyper local, who bring a taste of their land, of their culture to the wine space. A lot of people say, "Oh, the wines, the strawberries and the palmetto reds, they're too sweet." And I say, you know what? My customers are people who traditionally don't even drink wine, and they definitely don't like drinking vinegar. And so I think that African-American and Black-owned wineries are like rock and roll and classical music, that once we really hit our stride, then as a community, we're going to be the Beyonce of wine. We're going to be the Michael Jackson of wine. People are going to say, the muscadine wines, the southern wines, they're wines that everyone can enjoy. No matter your palate, whether you have a refined palate or whether you are new to the wine space, it doesn't matter. We are going to take over this industry. Once we really get involved, we're going to bring infused wines. We're going to bring je ne sais quoi, I don't even know the right words, but we're going to bring us to the wine space. And when that happens, the world will change.
A Florida wine giant expands, new DTC numbers, and a Black winemaker strikes gold. Here are the top stories for this month's Wine in a Minute. Florida-based ABC Fine Wine and Spirits is moving west. The alcohol retailer announced the purchase of Colorado-based wine and spirits retailer Applejack Wine and Spirits. The stores in Colorado will now be known as Applejack by ABC. It's ABC's first move out of Florida in the company's 90-year history. The latest direct-to-consumer numbers are adding to the gloom in the wine industry. They show a year-over-year drop in sales of 15% in 2025 from 2024 and a 6% drop in value. That's the biggest drop since records were first kept in 2010. It amounts to 230,000 fewer cases sold. The numbers come from the research groups Sovos Ship Compliant and Wine Business Analytics. Sonoma-based McCarter Cellars cleaned up once again at the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition. Its 2023 Pinot Noir took home Best of Class with a double gold. Its 2024 Pinot Noir took home a gold medal, and its 2024 Pinkish took home gold. McCarter Cellars is quickly becoming one of the most decorated wine brands in America today. Full disclosure, McCarter Cellars is a sponsor of WineNewsNoir.com. And finally, we go to Inglewood, California, where another award-winning winemaker came to town. The internationally praised Theodora Lee brought her fine wine to 1010 Wine and Events for a tasting, but she also brought some advice on how to navigate tough times in the wine game.
And this is a rosé of Petit-Syrah.
She's the undisputed queen of the vineyards, Theodora Lee, founder of the award-winning Theopolis Vineyards and Winery, making a rare stop at America's #1 wine bar, according to USA Today, 1010 Wine and Events in Inglewood, California.
Leslie and Leon are excellent entrepreneurs, and they have brought the community together. And being here in Inglewood to be part of it, it is one of the highlights of my year.
A wine celebrity by any standard, the industry calls her Theo-Patra Lee, says no matter how many appearances in international tastings or magazines such as Wine Enthusiast or Forbes magazine, or how many courtrooms this award-winning trial attorney appears in, she says always show up to pour up.
I am a person of the people. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, in an all-black neighborhood. And being part of the community is part of who I am, my DNA. So it is important to be here in person as often as possible to support and build community around wine.
On this night, Lee poured up her Cuvée Blanc, Cuvée Cerise, and her Rosé of Petit-Syrah. But Lee says she's not immune to the slump that has devastated the wine industry, dipping nearly $1 trillion in sales over the last 4 years. Lee says now is the time for black winemakers to look towards each other.
Be nimble. Produce only what you can sell and partner with others. When it comes to production, if there's 3 to 4 wineries going in on a production deal together, that's going to help us all. If we need to store our wine, I'm fortunate that I'm not having to pay storage costs, but if we are able to bring our resources together, the larger volume, we can get cheaper prices. So if we band together, I think that is the way we survive this industry.
For more information on Theopolis Vineyards, just go to their website at theopolisvineyards.com. Full disclosure, Theopolis is a sponsor of WineNewsNoir.com. And that's going to do it for this episode of WineNewsNoir.com. Please remember to support our sponsors on our website. Once again, thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing on YouTube. I'm Jay Jackson. Cheers.